What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to share with you how I got my first 10 clients when I started my pet sitting business. Last week, I shared with you my story of how I started my pet sitting business and quit my 9-to-5 job. If you haven't checked out that video yet and you're considering quitting your 9-to-5 job, check out that video because hearing other people's stories always help when you're trying to make such a big decision for yourself. If you're new to my channel, I'm Shelly Beyer, the creator of Pet Brainy, and I put out new videos every Tuesday with my best marketing strategies and tips to help you grow your pet business. Starting a pet sitting business is a fun journey, but it can also be a little bit scary because the question arises, how am I going to get clients? I thought by sharing my journey on how I got my first 10 clients that would help you. So that's why I'm making this video. So let's go ahead and get started and I'll share my journey. So my go live date was March 10th. Now that was the day that I was open for business. And I actually had been working for a veterinarian office before I started my business. And they were very supportive. So what he allowed me to do was create a coupon, and anybody that I transported to the vet's office for an appointment would get 20% off of their bill. So I totally took advantage of that. So I was very focused on any pet transports that I could get. So my very first client was 3 days after I opened my business on March 13th, and it was a pet transport client. Now, granted, I did have to drive 45 minutes to get the animal, bring it to the vet, and then take it back. So it took a big chunk of my day. Now, nowadays, I would not do that type of transport, but in the beginning, I was willing to take anything I could get. So that transport was my very first client, and I made $66, and I got a $7.50 tip. Then 1 week later, she called me back and wanted to transport her dog to the vet again. So that visit, I made $53 and I got a $20 tip. So all in all, that was a great first client. My second client was another pet transport client. I needed to transport his pit bull to the veterinarian office, which was a different vet. It wasn't the same vet. And that one, he actually saw my vehicle driving around. I had a vehicle wrap and he saw me driving around and called me. So that's how I got my second client. 3 weeks later, they called me back and actually wanted dog walking services. So they actually became a daily dog walking client for me. So that was an awesome second client. My third client was actually another pet transport client. And this one was a referral from the vet. Now, this was the third client in less than a week, and 2 of them came from the vet's office. So as you can see, that relationship with the vet's office was an important relationship to me because they were already sending me business. And I was putting my focus on pet transport. So that's the kind of clients I was getting. My first 3 clients were pet transport clients because I was focused on pet transport at that time. My fourth client was a dog walking client. Now this one was a daily dog walking client, and she actually got my name from Pet Sitters Associates, which was my insurance company. They gave her my name, or she looked it up and she found my name. Anyway, she actually lived in a motel. She was on contract at the jail. She was a nurse and she was only going to be in town for 5 months. So she was put up in a motel and her poor little dog was in a crate all day long when she worked those 12-hour shifts. So she had me come in each day to do an hour walk. So that was a great dog walking client. Now, I have to say that I absolutely fell in love with this little dog, and my heart broke when she had to leave because I absolutely loved him. That's the problem with building these connections with these animals sometimes, because your heart breaks when you have to leave them. But anyway, that was my fourth client. Now, my fifth client was a pet sitting client, and she was referred to me from the vet's office. She was in the veterinary's office, and she saw my business cards and my brochures at the front desk. So she got my business card and gave me a call, and she has turned out to be an amazing client. She's still one of my clients to this day, and she's even actually added several animals to her family. She started out with one dog, and we pet sat for this dog named Boo. And then now she's added some miniature horses and some chickens. So we absolutely love this client, and she's turned out to be a great client. So that's my first 5 clients. And those first 5 clients actually came the first week that I was in business. So I was very, very blessed to get 5 clients in 1 week. Now, the next 5 clients didn't come quite as quickly. It took me 2 full months to get the full 10 clients. So let me share with you how I got my 6th client. My 6th client was actually kind of an interesting story. I actually got a call from the fire department because they had gotten a call from a neighbor of some people that were gone for the weekend, and their 2 dogs got in a huge fight, and they needed somebody to transport these dogs to the vet. So when I got the call, I thought, oh boy, it's not going to be a good situation. So I actually called the vet and took one of the vet techs with me out to the property. And when we arrived, there was blood everywhere. It was a hot mess out there. So what we did is we transported one dog at a time to the vet's office, and actually both of them ended up needing surgery. So thank goodness the fire department got a call, and I was able to transport both dogs to the vet, and they were both okay after they got their surgeries, but it was a mess. Yuck. My 7th client was a pet sitting client, and they were referred from the vet's office again. But actually, I had a flyer up in the vet's office up on the bulletin board, and they pulled the little tag off of the flyer and got my phone number. So that was a great client. They're actually still my client today, and I absolutely love them. I love their property. It's one of my favorite properties to go to, and they have turned out to be awesome clients. My 8th client was actually somebody that ran events out of this place that's called the Caples House, and she actually lived there on the property with her little dog. Well, when she ran these events, the dog would bark, and so she couldn't have her dog there when these events were going on. So she called me and asked me if I was willing to take her little dog to my house. Now, that was something that I was not going to provide. I didn't want to provide that type of service because I just wasn't really set up to have animals at my house because I had 5 cats, and I was concerned that the animals wouldn't get along with my kitties. So anyway, I decided to give it a try because she said that her little dog did well with kitties. And so I went ahead and did it, hoping that everything would go okay, and it went great. The dog actually got along really well with my cats, and they still are clients of mine for many years now. So that's I have 2 dogs that I let come to my house, and that's one of them. And so they ended up to be great clients. So sometimes things present themselves, and maybe give it a second thought before turning it down, just because sometimes it can turn out to be great relationships and really good clients. So that one I was really happy I took. And she actually found me through a friend. Her friend told her about my services. I don't think her friend ever had used me before, but she had heard about my services and referred her to me. So that one worked out great. So my 9th client was actually another pet sitting client. And this one actually found me by doing a Google search. Now, what I did when I first started my business is I created some Google ads, because obviously when you're first starting out, your SEO isn't very good. So your website probably isn't going to come up on top when they do a Google search. So what I did is I took some Google AdWords out, and when they did a search for pet sitting in my area, I came out right on top. So then they saw my name and they gave me a call, and that's how I got them as a client. So my 10th client is a little dog named Kaya. And Kaya, I met at the park when I was walking Luca, the one that stayed in that motel that I was telling you about. I was out walking Luca and I came across this lady with this little dog that was barking at us. And she's like, I'm so sorry, my dog is barking. I just got her. I got her from the Humane Society, and this is only my second day with her. And I'm like, that's okay. And we started talking, and I let her know what my business was. And she totally wanted to book a meet and greet with me because she was trying to figure out what she was going to do with her dog when she was at work. So it worked out perfectly. And actually, Kaya is one of my favorite little dogs. I love Kaya, and her mom and I have become very good friends. In fact, I'm in her will now. So if something happens to her, Kaya comes to me. Kaya actually is a daily dog walking client, but we get to spend one day a month for a play day. Kathleen books a play day with me once a month for Kaya just to come and spend the whole entire day with me. So I am so blessed to have little Kaya in my life. So there you have it, my first 10 clients. Now those 10 clients came in the first 2 months, and at the 2-month mark, I actually hired my first employee. I wanted to make sure and work in the business for at least a few months so I knew exactly what my expectations were of my employees. And then I started hiring employees. And from there, it just grew and grew and grew. So that's how I did it. I'd love to hear how you got your first client. Drop it in the comments below. It's so fun to hear people's stories. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so that you're notified every week when I put new videos out. If you think your friends would enjoy these videos, share it with your friends. I'd love to see them. As always, I appreciate you being here. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one.